Okay, so I'm back with part 2, hello, of The Secret Journal from Scrimpin' Mommy's kit. You can find her on Ko-fi, and I'm going to start to put my cover on the inside. I think in the last video I talked about, I made the cover, showed you how to make the cover. And in this one, I'm going to put the inside of my cover. Quick tip, for anyone who might be interested. So I'm going to be using Garden Green. I tried another one, Mossy Meadow, I think it was, and it was just a little bit too dark. I did do it on the outside of the cover, but for the pages I thought that the Garden Green looked better. And this is a Stampin' Up product. I don't still sell Stamping Up anymore, but I still stand by, you know, their inks are just fabulous. Anyway, so this is sort of a little case that I've created. So when I want to use one of these stamps as borders for something, that I just mark what it is and then I put it in my case. These are face sponges from Dollar Tree. They do have, these are some of the older ones, or maybe that one's not. I think this one was. The older ones, they weren't as great. They were sort of flimsy, but these were really spongy. So look for these because they work and last a lot longer. But for $1.25 for a pack of like, I don't know, like 10 or something, they'll last you a really, really long time. You do have to replace them because they start to get a little frayed. But anyway, that's what I do. I keep them in my case here, and then I just pick out the one I need for whichever stamp I'm going to use. I don't have them for all of them because I haven't had the need to yet. I've only used them on certain colors, so I just pick one out when I have a color. So right now we are at putting our inside cover in, and that was just another thing I wanted to show you before I get inking here. But so this is going to be the inside, and once I get the edges all inked up, this is going to go here, this is going to go here, and then this is going to be the inside piece that lays in here. I will also put another piece in here to sturdy this without impeding my closing. So it'll come just inside of like maybe a 1/16 of an inch inside. And then when this goes on over top of that, I'll have a nice strong spine, but this works very well. Now this is just an old tablecloth, and it was sort of stained up, and I literally took it and ripped some pieces. And you can use this in many different ways. You can use these for spines. I've stamped on these to put into books. I've used them for closures, but yeah, I just have them at the ready, and I just go through and pick out what I'm going to need and rip it down. If you cut it, obviously you're not going to get the nice awesome frayed edges. I coffee dye these. You can tea stain. This might look good like an agree tea stain with this, but I'm going to leave it the color it is. You can do anything you want, but just think outside the box. But that's where that came from. And now ooh, that was a loud noise. And now I'm going to ink up all of my edges before I lay this down and get this glued in here. Now that my edges are inked, I'm going to go ahead and get these papers placed in here. Now you're going to want to make sure if there's direction, you want to make sure your whatever side is your upside of your book is the one that you're going with, and these flowers are going up, so I want to make sure I'm placing them in the direction of up. Now I would normally use art glitter glue, as most of you know who follow me. I use art glitter glue for everything, but because I want to get a little bit more time and movement when I lay this down, because art glitter glue sticks. I mean, it just sticks. It's not coming up, and I don't want to have to start over. So I'm going to use 3-in-1 or Fabri-Tac. It does help you move your paper. I don't like to just use white glue. I haven't found that that's does very well, honestly, for stuff that I do. But anyway, so we're going to use the 3-in-1. And I always use this stuff pretty, you know, I mean, I use it when I need to, but it's not my go-to because, boy, as the price of this glue has shot up, my goodness, you know, and so it's just not something I go to every day. My art glitter glue, I know it's expensive, but I'll tell you, I buy a great big one. I want to say it's a 16 ounce, and I buy that for about 22 bucks, I think, in the summer, because I get it from a certain distributor, and they only ship it when the weather's nice, because it does not like the cold weather. And I just refill my small bottle, and so I still have, I just bought it last fall, plus I think I had another one of these, and then I'm refilling this. I still have half of that big bottle left, because you don't need a lot of it to do what you're going to do. It really is very sparingly, but it sticks. And I just know that my projects aren't going to come apart when I'm using that glue. Now this one's going to take a little bit more time to dry, and that's fine. But it still lets me move it. I can push and move the paper into place where I want. Plus, I can sort of move that to the edges. Now, if my edges start to come up, I go check them later, and then I'll just throw a little bit of art glitter glue, because it's got the fine tip, and I can just throw that under there and get a nice glue around the edges. Because if it's something you're selling or giving as a gift, like, you don't want it to come up. And so far, I've not had anybody come back and say, hey, your album fell apart. You know, the album I bought from you fell apart. So I'm pretty conscious of that. So let's get this one glued down. And I'll be on the lookout for some more of this, because I only have about half. In the summer, if I can get a coupon from like Joann Fabrics or Michaels or whatever, that's what I'm going to focus on getting some more of this glue for as cheap as I can get it. Now, sometimes this glue gets gummy, and you might have to look this up, as I don't remember who I heard this from, but I did try it, and I want to say it was acetate. Fingernail polish remover, but it has to be the acetate, because I think it helps break down the glue a little bit. So when it gets gummy, if you put acetate in the glue bottle, and I just put a little bit at a time until I get the consistency that I want, but if you put acetate, it helps that glue soften up or break down a little bit, so that it's not so gummy trying to get it out of the bottle. Okay, so we have our two sides on, and then I'm going to do the middle piece. So for the middle piece, now if I can find it, what I did with it. Interesting. Things that go missing. I'm going to write a book one of these days. Things that go missing and how to recover them. I'm going to put little beepers on everything. Okay, well, I'll find it, and I'll be back, and then I'll show you how I do my middle, strengthen my middle, and how we're going to put that piece down the middle. Okay? Hi, everyone. So this is a video that's after the video of the other videos. Yeah, when I did how to do this, when I did the video, and went to play it back, I realized I had done the whole thing in slow motion. So I'm not obviously going to do it over, because I have my pages in here. So I'm just going to make this the first part of part 2. In that video, the first one, I believe I showed how I put my holes in, and I'm just going to kind of explain it. So when I had my book all done, I believe I got to this part. I took the book, and I have these little templates, and I might have explained it. If I did, I'll just cut this part out. So I have these little templates all ready to go. They have the holes in them, and they're for this particular size that I have several of. I'm going to be doing this in the Floral Grace journal as well. So before I put my cardboard on the inside, what I do is take my book, my signature, I should say. Take my signatures. I line them up. Now you can put a little dot there however you want to, which is what I do. Some people can just go ahead and go bam, do it. But what I do is I line this up. I take my pencil and I put a little mark, okay? Once my marks are in, I take my book, just a book that's the guts of probably that last Reader's Digest I did, and I put this down in the middle as far as I can and just try to get it in there. I open it up just enough to see where I put the marks, and then I punch down with my I think it's called an awl, a pokey tool, and I punch down to get my marks in both of my signatures, okay, which I've done for both signatures. Once I'm done with that, I bring my cover back in, and this piece gets glued in the middle with Fabri-Tac. I glue it all down, and once I kind of let it sit, I'm not in any hurry. Sometimes in between doing other things in the house, I know there's little things I want to get set up, so I'll just come glue something real quick and then go do something else. And then I put it back onto my book, and then once this is glued in there, obviously you don't have to hold it, but at that point I'm going to use my pokey tool, and I'm going to punch it through until it's through the other side, okay? So once that's done, I get this came from like a tablecloth, like an old tablecloth, and I just rip it up until I get the size that I want. I think everybody knows kind of how to do that. And then, and then I take my same Fabri-Tac and I glue just the middle, leaving these sides up. I get that middle glued down. I again work my edges because I want this to close, and it doesn't have to close completely because obviously your book will never be flat. And then I glue the edges. Then these signatures will get put in the middle, and we'll go from there. So I hope this at least explains it. I think I've done it before, but in a different video. If you go look at my videos, I'm not sure which one it was in. So anyway, that's done, and then I'm going to add this to the front of the rest of the process, and then we'll come back in and sew these signatures. So I'm going to make this part 2, and then I will do a part 3 of sewing in the signatures, and then I'll start to embellish. All right, thanks everyone. Hope it helps. Bye.